Alright, so here we are in exercise 10. We are in painting and rendering, and this time we're exploring brushes and strokes. So the first thing we're going to explore is the brushes panel. So this is a panel that's going to allow you to create paths with a more traditional or artistic look to the path, or even a pattern to the path. So you use this in tandem with your brush tool, which we will go over. But first, let's look at the 5 types of brushes that make up the brushes that you're going to use in Illustrator. So we're going to explore these 5 types using our brush libraries. So let's go ahead and open up the brushes panel. It's over here in the dock, has this symbol, or you can find it in window and brushes. And I'll go ahead and pull that off of the dock and expand it. Now what you're going to see is a first set of about 10 brushes or 11 brushes, and it just looks like a silhouette of an ellipse. These are your calligraphic brushes. So when you use these brushes, they're going to give you a calligraphic-like stroke. So let's go ahead and try that. So I'm just going to select this path I made right here. And you don't actually have to create paths with the brush tool. You can actually create a path using pen or pencil tool or the shape tool, and then you can apply a brush stroke to that path. So that's what we're doing right here. And I'll go ahead and try one of these calligraphic brushes. Let's try a flat 30. And you can see as that brush moves along the path, the angle stays the same, but as the path changes, it changes the diameter of the brush stroke. And let's try it with another one. This time I'll try it with a really small 3-point oval. That one's really subtle, but you can still see that it looks like it's kind of like a pen stroke. Then let's try it on a geometrical shape. And for this one, let's actually open up our brush libraries. So that's in the brushes panel, down where the libraries icon is. Let's go to artistic and go to calligraphic. And then we have these really fine ones right here. Go ahead and try a 10-point flat. See how that looks. So take some time and just kind of explore a little bit with the calligraphic brushes and see if there's any that catch your eye or any ones that look peculiar to you. Alright, so I'm going to leave that there and move on to the next one. So I'll just close the calligraphic window. Let's look at scatter brushes. So scatter brushes are brushes that take a set of objects and they scatter it along the path. And we'll explore that as we go down to custom brushes. So let's go ahead and find some scatter brushes from the library. So I'll open up the library and I'm going to go down to decorative and then find the decorative scatter. And I'll pull that open. And these are the objects that it's going to scatter along the path. Now a lot of these are just way too big to fit along this small path. So like this one, these are extruded hexagons and octagons. You could try the stars. Now since they are a stroked path, we come up here to the stroke and I'll bring it down to 0.25. Okay, just like a stroke, it'll make all of those smaller. So I'll do that again with this one. And let me try these dots and then I'll bring down the stroke to 0.5. And then on this last one, I'll try the bubbles and I'll bring that down to 0.5. And there we get a good idea of what the scatter brush is doing. Alright, so the next one is the most widely used type of brush. This is our art brush. So this gives you the traditional hand done look of a stroke. So I'll close the decorative scatter. I'll go to my library. I'll go to artistic and let's go to the artistic paintbrush. And here we get these silhouettes of a paint stroke. And depending on what version of Illustrator you're using, you might have more or less of these or different kinds. But in either case, choose one of these paths and apply the paint stroke. Some of these paint strokes actually have value transitions and others are simply dual tone. They're just black and white. And if I want to, I can take this brush stroke. I can come over to the stroke panel or the stroke icon in the tool panel. I can double click and I can actually change the color of that brush stroke. Go ahead and try another one. Change the color. Change it to a blue. Then I'll try one more. Try that one. Alright, so that's your art brushes. Okay, the next one is bristle brushes. So these ones are similar to the art brush, but these ones will work with your Wacom tablet or whatever kind of drawing tablet that you have. So I'll go to brush library, bristle brush, and bristle brush library, and I'll kind of explore the bristle brush. Now, just a warning that these brushes, as you use them, they tend to hinder your performance on your computer. So you want to make sure that when you're using these, that you're using them really selectively and sparingly, because Illustrator's actually reading these as hundreds of individual effects. So if you try to do just a large scale painting with these brushes in Illustrator, it's just a nightmare for your computer to calculate. That's one of the drawbacks of using Illustrator compared to Photoshop. But just know Illustrator does have some of the capabilities, but they're limited. I'll go ahead and put on a couple more of these bristle brush strokes just to get a feel on how they work. You get the flat brush. See how it kind of changes around this geometric shape. And the last one is our pattern brush. So pattern brushes are going to create, as you would imagine, a pattern that follows along a path. And these are very commonly used for any kind of decorative illustration. So I'll go into the brush library. I'll go into decorative. Actually, I'll go into borders, and I'll go into geometric borders. And here you can see these are actually patterns along a path. So what you're looking at is parts along the path. So I'll choose this one so you can see how that pattern goes along the path. You're going to come across things like this, so geometric 6, where you're going to see a corner, and then you're going to see just a regular straight swatch for that pattern, and then another corner. So we'll get into that. It's trying to instruct the decorative pattern how to wrap around a corner. So if we choose this geometric shape and then we apply this geometric 6, we can see that it goes straight across this line, but when it hits this corner, it actually changes a little bit. So we'll explore that more later. I'll choose this last one, and maybe I'll apply this one and bring down the stroke, and there we have it. So that's an introduction to the brushes panel.